Well, now. See Andrew.
See Andrew, yeah. We'll turn it back when we have a business meeting or anything.
Okay, the most editions of The Mysterious Island by one publisher. My last talk on a similar subject was the most editions of Around the World in 80 Days by one publisher. I concluded that R.E. King of London published 18 editions using different covers for the same printed text block, with further 4 from different publishers, but were printed by R.E. King. In this talk, I will describe the near identical editions by one publisher. Although the editions are pretty much the same over the years, I claim that they're different editions because they each have a unique date on the title page or a unique copyright date. This edition is probably known to every collector of Jules Verne. At the end, I will also introduce you to an almost unknown rare publication of this edition. To give you a hint, the book is described as an exquisite, bold book bearing the title The Mysterious Island is presented to the public, that delightfully romantic, interesting story by Jules Verne, which has afforded so much pleasure to thousands and thousands of readers of good literature in the days gone by. In its new dress, all bright and fashionable, in colorful tones and dainty nuances, The Mysterious Island presents a most charming appearance, and the pictorial part of the book done by N.C. Wyeth is unusually artistic. So, of course, I'm talking about The Mysterious Island by Scribner's, which is illustrated by N.C. Wyeth. Sorry. The Mysterious Island, published by Charles Scribner's Sons, illustrated by N.C. Wyeth, Newell Converse Wyeth. In the encyclopedia, it says, in 1918, Charles Scribner's Sons published The Mysterious Island in an edition illustrated with pictures by N.C. Wyeth. 7 intro pages, 493 pages, priced at $2.50. And since then, this version with the Wyeth illustrations, far different from the original French engravings, has been reprinted. Here's a couple notices in the newspapers from 1918, just simply saying that The Mysterious Island was coming out, $2.50, with illustrations in color by N.C. Wyeth. The book over the years appeared in many different series by Scribner's. Scribner's Illustrated Classics, Scribner's Illustrated Classics for Young Readers, Scribner's Illustrated Classics for younger readers, young readers, Scribner's Illustrated Classics for Younger People, Scribner's Classics, Scribner Classics, Scribner Illustrated Classics, and Scribner's Colored Classics. In 1925, this is a list of the books that were in the Illustrated Classics for Younger Readers series, and Mysterious Island is down here. So this is 7 years after it first came out. The first edition of the book was dated 1918 and uses the W.H.G. Kingston translation. So the first edition of the Scribner illustrated book would be 1918, with 1918 on the title page. The first edition has 14 color illustrations in addition to the paste-on cover and the title page illustration of the island. And the index in the beginning of all the Scribner editions will list how many illustrations there are. So 2 pages of 14 illustrations shown. Just to go through the illustrations quickly, the cover is crashing into the sea near the island. The title page has the Mysterious Island shown. This is the title page of the first edition in 1918. The castaways await the lifting fog and the rescue of Captain Harding. Marooned, and Toph is saved from the dugong. The seal hunt and the discovery of the chest. The capture of the orang and the courier of the air. The Wild Man of Tabor Island and the Bonaventure. Ayrton's fight with the pirates, and Captain Harding slays the convict. And finally, Captain Nemo and the Last Hope. The editions from 1918 to 1921 have 14 illustrations, but the editions from 1924 to 1946 only have 9 illustrations. So in those editions, there's only one illustration index page with 9 illustrations listed. Sadly, the ones that are missing are The Rescue of Captain Harding, The Seal Hunt, The Wild Man of Tabor Island, The Bonaventure, and most missing would be Captain Nemo, which is kind of reprinted everywhere. It's a very famous illustration of Nemo that people like using. But you don't get that if you only get the 9 illustration editions. All the volumes retain the 51 chapter-ending pen and ink illustrations. I don't show all 51 here, but here are some of the illustrations that kind of appear at the end of each chapter. All done by N.C. Wyeth as well. Here's a few others.
So Andrew, they're both color plates and sketches?
Yeah, color plates. 14 color plates or 9 color plates, plus these sketches on the pages of the text as well.
About 50 of the
51 of those. And all editions seem to have those. So to get to my point of how many editions there are, again, I said from 1918 to 1921, and the one that says no date, copyright 1920, have 14 illustrations. Ones from 24 to 46 have 9 illustrations, but then again in 1948 onwards, they have 14 color illustrations again. I claim there are at least 20 editions of this book.
Just from Scribner's.
Just from Scribner's, yep. So 1918 and its copyright, so this is 1918 on the title page, and then that's the copyright. It simply says copyright 1918, published October 1918. Then you have a 1919 edition, a 1920 edition, then there's a no date 1920s version, which simply says copyright 1920 on the top, but no date on the title page. So to me, that's a separate edition. 1924, 1925, 1926, 1927, 29, 1930, 33, 35, 36, 37, 1940, and then others appear with no date on the title page, and they say no date with a renewal copy date. They have no date, but they now say renewal copyright 1946. So some will have a date on the title page and that copyright, some will have no date on that copyright. And then we get 1946, 1948, 1951, and then a no date one in 1988. There may be other editions that I haven't found, but these are the ones I've been able to track down from sellers who simply show me the title page. Good, I get to see a date and see how many there are. Scribner's merged with Atheneum in 1978, becoming the Scribner Book Companies. And then in 1990, Simon & Schuster acquired Scribner. I believe this book here, this copy here, is the last Scribner edition from 1988. So there was a boxed edition, paste-on cover in a box, and then one which is plain but with a dust jacket. And the copyright it basically says 1918 by Charles Scribner's, renewal copyright 1946, and does say 1988 down here. So that, I think, is the last Scribner copy. Finally, the little-known rare editions published in 1919 and 1920. Yes, there are indeed 2 Sampson Low editions of the N.C. Wyeth Illustrated Edition. As you can see, it's printed by Scribner Press from Sampson, for Sampson Low. So it does say copyright 1918 by Charles Scribner's Sons, printed by the Scribner Press, New York. But it does say Sampson Low, Marston and Company on the title page. There were 2 editions, 1919. 1920. The book looks the same, 14 illustrations inside. The base of the spine does say Sampson Low. It does also have the chapter ending pen and ink drawings. The paste down cover actually has an equal gold border around it versus the Scribner's, which has a thinner border on the left and right. I'll show you one more picture that shows that. But it, for some reason, has a wider border on the cover paste on. In the catalog for 1919, the publisher's circular, page 248, it does say Jules Verne, The Mysterious Island, pictures by N.C. Wyeth, Sampson and Lowe, published in November 1919. The Jules Verne Encyclopedia does mention the first edition, saying that in November 1919, Sampson Lowe published the work as an expensive Royal 8 VO edition, priced at 12 shillings 6 with illustrations by N.C. Wyeth. It was an expensive book at 12 shillings 6 because other books that Sampson Lowe were selling were 2 shillings 6 or 3 shillings 6. So it's a very expensive book. I think because of that, there at the moment are only 4 known copies. I have 2, and a collector has 2 in England. The weird one is that in 1919, the book is thin. It's like the 4 centimeter Scribner book. But the 1920 edition is, the 1920 edition is this one, which is 5 centimeters. Now, I'll just show you some examples. So, this is a Scribner edition. It's not a first edition, sorry. Yeah, this is a 1925 edition. So it's got a thin border here and a thin border there, where the Sampson Lowe has a more equal border to the top. This is a rebound. I don't quite exactly know how. This is a rebound 1919 Sampson Lowe, but this is the 1920 Sampson Lowe. And there's the difference. I don't know why the paper is so much thicker. There's no extra pages. There's no more illustrations. It's just a very thick book on very thick paper. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of makes it unique, but at the bottom it does say Sampson Lowe.
Show me both.
Yep.
I'm just talking about the border again. My presentation had said that there are 3 known copies, but my friend in England bought a copy online that simply showed the cover, didn't show the title page, but based on the gold border, he said, I'm going to take a chance. That might be a Sampson Lowe. It's a ratty edition, but he bought it, and when he got it, it is a Sampson Lowe with the more equal border. So just by knowing that, you might be able to find it. Not everyone shows the title page. So Charles Scribner's Sons has published over 20 editions of virtually the same book over the course of 70 years and printed 2 more editions for Sampson Lowe. Quite a remarkable run over the years. Thanks very much.
Yeah.